Hello, my boomer friends. Today's video, we're going to be looking at Generation Boomer, the boomers, as you are called. So, a baby boomer is 1946 to 1964. And I'm just looking down because I've got it written down in my notes. This is a range of videos that I'm doing looking at the different generations, and I'm going to do a playlist on here. So if you want to watch them all, because you may have grandchildren in one, you may have a child in another, you may be moving into older generations or whatever, please feel free. But there is going to be a playlist on here. And you can watch these at any day. They're not going to be like the 2nd of October or whatever like that. You can watch it in now, 5 years, 10 years, or whenever you're drawn to watch this video. And I do make no apologies for the slight sore eye that I've got. It's a slight eye infection, nothing to worry about. I just thought, because I usually have a full face of eye makeup on as well as face makeup, but I don't have today. Anyway, let's get to it then, boomers. What's going to come up for you? We're going to be using the Mystic Palette Tarot by Cairo Marchetti. And I'm also going to be using the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. Let's get to it and see what wants to come up. Yep. See what wants to come up for those watching. So let's do this. Boomers. You, it's interesting with the different generations. I've been doing a bit of Googling on the different generations, and every time you go on a generation, they're always trolled. Millennials are trolled, boomers are trolled, generation this are trolled. They're all to blame for the world's problems. You're either a snowflake or you're cold, or it's interesting. Or you're too hot and all of that. It's interesting what mainstream does to you when you get into a certain demographic. So, boomers, generation boomer. I want to say here that I'm being shown the fact that you were the generation whose parents came back from war and went at it. That's why they call you the boomers, so I've been told. And there's a message here about remembering who your parents were, how brave they were, that they stood for, they went to battle to fight for freedom, for liberation, so that their children, grandchildren, great grandchildren were not ruled by the extreme right of the world. And you're being asked to remember that. Um, Boomers. Let's see what Boomer wants to come through. Interesting. Look at that. Wowzers. Sorry, I just like looking at these cards. They're fascinating. The art, I did say when I got this deck, it's fascinating. Look at that. It feels like the gates of hell. The gates of hell. It feels like we're having to defend ourselves. There's a lot being put on boomers. I will call you boomers because that's the title of the. But we know we don't like labels on this channel, but for the sake of the video and to keep me remembering that I'm doing boomers and not some other generation, it's almost like I've got to defend myself because my children are accusing me of this. Society's saying I'm doing this. Society feels like it's coming after us. And I feel as though I've got to defend myself all of the time, as though I literally am at the gates of some type of hell. Where's my deck? Um, but this is about rising up. It's about rising up. Um, the King of Pentacles, yeah. You're in your senior years, you're in your wisdom years. And again, you're like the other ones that because I'm doing this over the morning, all these filming of these videos, so they're all done and I can post them throughout October and possibly into November. And you're into your years of seniority. But the matrix that we've been born into, the false matrix, has groomed that if you're a certain age, you've got to act a certain way. And what I'm hearing with this, it's not about being the jittery old lady or the jittery old man. It's about being the wise elder. remembering your wise energy and information. And many of you are, otherwise you possibly won't be able to watch these channels regular. Um, I want to say as well, I think a lot's getting thrown at your generation, and this is about actually sticking up for yourself, but not in a toxic way. This is about if you don't want to be accused of being a certain way, we've got to act a certain way. Not act, but be a certain way. Does that make sense? So if you're being accused of, it's all your fault the world is like this because of using all of this plastic stuff. Plastic stuff came up in your generation, or they reuse on all of that. It's about being something different. Um, owning your part in the story as well, owning your part in the story, not allowing yourself to become little old me, to know that many people of your demographic are, I mean, I'm fascinated at the minute. I follow a lot of predominantly women that are of a certain like Generation X and into Boomer that are now sharing their wisdom via YouTube. I am born for those channels, mate. I am all over those channels like a bad rash. Speaking of rashes. Anyway, um, and I think there's something needed within you guys that needs to be shared. That it's about stopping this act of being little old me or stopping the act of being the illnesses that you have or the difficulties that you have, and actually bringing forth your wisdom as your ancestors would have done in their own generation. Wow. Oh, yes, I'm correct. King and Queen of Pentacles coming in together. Your masculine, your feminine, the men and the women that are watching, not being the, I'll say it again, the jittery little old person or heading into that, but rising up with your wisdom, owning your part of the story, standing in your creation, standing in your truth, connecting back into your ancient heritage, embracing who you are. Stop running from yourselves as well. So powerful, these cards coming in together. And the Knight of Pentacles, new ideas. There's many Native Americans amongst you, and I don't mean in this, I mean, they could be in this lifetime, but past lives where you were Native American. I'm feeling that, where you were the Norsemen and women. And you can say that for all the generations, but I'm really feeling it for the boomers, that they really have been taken away from themselves. The 80s, 90s would have been your prime years. Um, late 70s, 80s, 90s, that type of thing. And this is about coming back to who you are as a soul and therefore who you are as a person and who you're becoming. Many of you are also feeling death and fearing death. And there's healing needed in relation to what death actually is. That death is the physical death of the body, the vessel, which carries your essence, your soul, your spirit, whatever you want to call it. And that making sure that you leave behind a good legacy. And you were going, God, Claire, but I'm not. I'm in the middle of pandemonium. My kids hate me, my grandkids hate me, because that's happening a lot, especially with the boomer generation. There's a lot of bitterness coming up there. But this is about actually doing all you can to heal it whilst you're here. Even if it's having uncomfortable conversations with children saying, I got it wrong and I'm sorry. Or I didn't realize what I was doing, what I was saying, or I was lost myself, just like we're all lost. And admitting that at one point you were lost, but actually now that you're coming to your elder years, not your elderly years, your elder years, that you're coming back into your power and that you've still got your coins to play. Oh, look at that as well. Yeah, for the next generation, the page of coins. That the next generation needs you. And what I was getting before I brought the card up was you're still needed in weddings, christenings, birthdays. You still need that wisdom. I was talking to someone a while back and they said they're quite frustrated where they work because a lot of people are retiring and they're refusing to pass on wisdom and knowledge. So, in some cases, not being able to get on certain systems because they're not given the information, they're going and they're going in a really cold way. And it reminded me of the elders and the elders sitting around the fire and passing on the wisdom, the old wise women passing on the medicine wisdom, the wisdom about, the earth that that have stopped. I'm not telling this my wisdom. You see it a lot. You see it a lot. I'm not doing that video because I don't want people to know I do that. And, passing on your wisdom. But I also want to say at this point, I get what you mean when you say, but I do this and they don't even listen. You can see the glassing over and they're bored. Doesn't matter because there are people around you that need that wisdom. I've just been reading a book called Mattress Sense by Lucy Jones. The full review of it is on my booktube channel, Claire Thackeray Reads, which you can find below in the description pinned comment. And she was talking about pregnancy and birth and how we've come away from ourselves. That in ancient times, the older women of the community, the mothers, the grandmothers, the aunties, would step forward for the new mums and would nurture them and nurse them and educate them and guide them and hold space for them. And that doesn't happen now. That in some cases. And also, as well, I want to say at this point that many of you are doing stuff with grandchildren. And they do say, don't they, that the more you spend with your more time you spend with your grandchildren, the younger you can be and the more vibrant that you can be. So this is really important. This is really important. Wow. The Empress card. This is the Empress card. Where was it? And the Emperor card at the bottom, the Emperor and the Empress card. That you are the creator in your families, the nurturers. The generation, the nurturing that wants to come through, the wisdom, the ancient ancestral wisdom that wants to come through with that. What's this one now? Look at this one as well. I love this deck. Being vibrant and knowing your place as well. When I say knowing your place, I don't mean know your place, but know your place. Know why you came here. Know who you are. And if you're watching thinking, yeah, but I don't know who I am, I don't know why I came here. Well, this is time to find that out. This is time to realize that and letting go of the deceit and trickery that can be within this generation. There's a lot of this coming up where um, things have been said and done, and things have been said and done to you as well. Stopping fooling yourself. The transition, we know that you're on a transition. And for some of you, it feels like this is too much. I'm scared of death. I'm scared of illness. I'm scared of retirement. I'm scared of disability. I'm scared of not being seen. I feel as though I've got all this baggage. But it's about standing tall, knowing that you're on a transition, you know, allowing allowing yourself to be free. Many of you do feel hemmed in by society. I mean, I know there's like the whole thing of I know in this country, what's it called? Fuel payment thing. Claire, fuel payment thing with Sir Keir Rodney Starmer. um, did say, didn't I? The first 6 months of that reign would be interesting. Um, it's a transition. embracing the transition. And I think there's a message for all of us here that no matter what stage of life we're on, to embrace these different transitions that we're on. Many of you may be going through loneliness as well, through various different reasons, and surrounded by, it's almost like this is, I'm getting the vision of someone that's surrounded by all their pain. They've not dealt with it. No matter where they go to, it follows them. It's following you because it's not being dealt with correctly. Look at that. There's some ancient clearing here as well. Something that was taken from you. Something that was taken. It could be children, grandchildren. It could be partners, friends. There's a loneliness. Something else has come in and taken it. Itchy face. Something else has come in and taken this. Let's see what the next card is. Oops. But it's time to move on. It's time to move on from the old stories of they did this to me, they've done that to me. We see this a lot. I mean, this can be any generation, to be honest. You know, she came in and took my son. He came in and took my daughter. She had an affair with my husband, and it's these old stories. Then it's the illusion. It's the band-aid. It's the illusion, and needing to let go of the old stories because time is running out. Tick, 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 tick. Who am I? Where am I going? Looking at what you've got, being thankful for what you've got, being thankful of what you've achieved. And a final card for this part of the reading. Wow. Rebalancing, bringing back balance. We'll do another one. And that's how you heal your relationship with yourself and any relationships with others around you, family members, partners. The answer is that the Two of Cups, many readers, and I've done this as well, will say, oh, it's a new relationship coming, it's love. It actually can be, but the deeper meaning of this is a relationship with ourselves, the masculine and the feminine. What is being mirrored to me? What is my life looking like? And the tragic truth is, whatever's coming in the external is an example of what we're carrying internal. So this is some real deep reflection that is needed at this time. Let's go on to the oracle cards for this reading. The observer. Stop being the observer of your life. It's almost like I'm getting a vision of many of you standing outside the body looking in, and you feel that life's just passing you by. Yin, needing to be gentle with yourself and others, needing to step into your pink ray, your pink energy, your heart-centered energy, needing to step back into your life, but also being aware of what is going on. Why has the family got to where it is? What's happening in the family dynamics? What's happening around me in the world around me? Not the global stage. It's your own community, neighbors, friendships, relationships, family. The deep knowing that wants to come in. Starting to embrace your deep knowing. Tick tock, tick tock. The clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. I mean, you can say the clock's ticking for all of us because no matter what age we are, click and it's finished. But when you get to a certain age, it is ticking. But rather than going, oh God, I'm going to die soon, I'm going to die something, I'm going to make the rest of my life something to be proud of. There's not a lot I can do about the past apart from try and build some bridges and speak, my loving truth and try and understand different perspectives. But the clock is ticking. But ultimately, time is in your hands. Wow. Wow, the fates. Well, there's nothing I can do about it now. I'm going to die soon. You hear so? I've worked in nursing homes for years. When I was late teens, it was late teens. I worked in nursing homes, and some of the stories No, I can do now, love. I'm dying. I'm out of my way. There's no I can do about my life right now. I'm waiting for God. God's waiting. And they blatantly knew what they'd done in their lives, a lot of them. And it's not up to me now. It's up to the next generation. I was born in Yorkshire, by the way, and worked in Yorkshire. And that needs to go. What can I do now? I'm nearly deed, and all of that rubbish that people say when we're older. And this is my fate. This is little old me. That's got to go. It's conditioning, 3D conditioning, false matrix conditioning. You can bring something to the table. You can bring about a change. Soulmates. Many of you may have lost people and building bridges in relation to that. And the soulmate, I'm being with this soulmate, is many of you may have lost soulmates as well through divorce, separation, death, and there's healing there as well. Let's see what's the next card is that comes from that and being flexible. That's interesting. I'm being shown someone that has got issues with the joints and it's all stiff. Now, people can get triggered when we talk like this. So I'm being flexible. But they do say when we've got physical things rise up with us, then they're representative of the energetic things. That when we're feeling stiff and rigid, that maybe there's something in our lives that we're not being flexible with. And this is about being flexible. Coming out of, I mean, you see this a lot with routine. I mean, routine can get anyone at any age, but no, we do this on a Friday. Don't be washing on a Friday. You know, there's been stories of people that have died, and certain people have still done their washing on that day, or they've flipped that person has died because it's that their wash day. It's their wash day. This happens. Or how dare you have your baby in the first week of September? That's my holiday month. You get that. You get that. Or what do you mean your child's ill? Emmerdale's on. True stories. I shit you not. And this is about co-creation, co-creation with others, with the next generation, being flexible with all generations. And, I'm getting the vision of, when we can all put aside all these labels there, boomers, there, that, and realize that we are all of it and that we are all one and actually start communing with each other. Until that moment, we're going to still be in the position that we're in. I've got one more card to pull. Fork in the road. It's a time for change. Ooh, I like these readings. Fork in the road. It's a time for change. Thank you for watching. You can go to the playlist and watch different generations if you would like to, and like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And take cares of yourself. Take care of yourself. Love the people around you. And I will catch you in the next video. Ta-ta for now.